I had always considered myself a trusting person. It was one of the things that drew me to Sarah in the first place. She had that warmth about her, that genuine kindness that made you feel like you were the most important person in the world when she was around. For the first 6 months of our relationship, everything felt perfect. We laughed together, shared secrets, and I truly thought I had found someone I could spend the rest of my life with. But that was before everything changed. It all started with the little things. She began working longer hours, spending more time on her phone, being distant during the evenings when we were supposed to be hanging out. At first, I told myself I was just being paranoid. After all, we were both busy, and maybe she was going through something at work. But as the weeks went on, I started to notice a few more things. She was texting at odd hours of the night, her phone always face down when she wasn't using it, and she became defensive when I asked about it. Then, there was the night it all came crashing down. I had planned a surprise for Sarah, a quiet dinner at my place. I'd gone out of my way to cook her favorite meal and even bought a bottle of wine I knew she'd enjoy. I thought it would be a perfect evening to reconnect. I was in the kitchen when I heard the door open. I figured it was her, so I didn't even look up at first. But then I heard laughter, loud, cheerful, the kind of laughter that you only hear when people are genuinely enjoying each other's company. I froze, instinctively knowing that something wasn't right. I walked into the living room, expecting to see her standing there, maybe talking to a friend or someone from work. What I didn't expect to see was Sarah, sitting on the couch with another man. Their faces were close, and for a brief moment, I thought maybe they were just joking around, maybe it was harmless. But then, I saw his hand on her thigh. My heart stopped. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. For what felt like an eternity, I stood there, my mind trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Sarah turned around, her eyes widening in shock when she saw me standing in the doorway. The man beside her jumped up, immediately standing to his feet, but neither of them said anything at first. Ryan, Sarah started, but her voice trailed off, her words caught in her throat. What is this? I finally managed to say, my voice coming out colder than I intended. Who is he? She stood up, and the man awkwardly glanced at her before turning to leave the room. I'll just go, he said, his voice nervous. I barely heard him. All I could focus on was Sarah, the woman I thought I knew. I can explain, she whispered, looking at the floor. It's not what it looks like. I swear, it was just a mistake. A mistake, I repeated, my voice breaking. How is this just a mistake, Sarah? What the hell is going on? She hesitated, clearly struggling to find the right words. I wasn't planning for this to happen. It was a one-time thing. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. My mind was racing. The room felt like it was spinning. So, you've been cheating on me, and now, you want me to believe that this was just a mistake. I never wanted to hurt you, Ryan. I really didn't. This was something I didn't know how to stop, she stammered, her eyes filled with shame. I stood there, frozen, unsure of what to do next. Part of me wanted to yell at her, to tell her how much this hurt, how much it shattered everything I thought we had. But another part of me wanted answers. I needed to understand how this happened and why. The words that came next weren't what I expected. I still love you, she said, her voice trembling. I made a huge mistake, but I don't want to lose you. Please, Ryan, let me explain. Give me a chance to fix this. I stared at her, my heart torn in two. Could I forgive her for this? Could I ever trust her again? I stood there, numb, as Sarah's words hung in the air. I still love you, she had said. I made a huge mistake, but I don't want to lose you. Those words should have meant something, but they felt hollow now. How could she say that after what I had just seen? After everything she had done behind my back? The trust between us was gone, shattered beyond repair in the span of a few moments. I couldn't look at her. I couldn't face the person she had become, someone who could lie to me, betray me so completely, and still ask for another chance. My mind was spinning, my emotions a chaotic mix of anger, hurt, and confusion. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to make her understand the pain she had caused me. But I stood there, frozen, unsure of what to say or do next. Please, Ryan, Sarah whispered, taking a small step toward me. I didn't want this. I know I messed up. But I swear, it was a mistake. I never wanted to hurt you. I don't know how it happened. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath, trying to steady myself. You don't know how it happened. I repeated, my voice cracking. Sarah, you knew exactly what you were doing. You made a choice to be with him. You chose to betray me. And now you want me to believe that it was all just some accident. Her eyes filled with tears, and she stepped closer, reaching out for me. "I'm sorry, Ryan. I can't change what happened, but I'll do anything to make it right. Please, don't give up on us." I stepped back, shaking my head. "You don't get it, do you? You don't get how much this hurts. I trusted you. I believed in us. And now, all of that, everything, has been destroyed." My voice was rising, but I couldn't stop it. I was angry, and I had every right to be. She stood there, tears streaming down her face, and for a brief moment, I saw the girl I had once loved. The girl who was kind, warm, and thoughtful. The girl I thought I knew. But that wasn't the woman standing in front of me now. The woman standing in front of me had broken everything we had, and I wasn't sure if I could ever trust her again. "I can't just forget what happened, Sarah," I said, my voice steady but full of pain. "I can't just pretend that everything's okay. You've destroyed the foundation of everything we built together, and I don't know if I can ever get past that." She collapsed onto the couch, her face buried in her hands, crying uncontrollably. "I never wanted to hurt you," she sobbed. "I never wanted to lose you. But I made a mistake, and now I'm paying for it." I stood there, watching her, torn between the love I once had for her and the betrayal I couldn't ignore. My heart ached for her, but at the same time, I couldn't deny the truth of what had happened. She had chosen him over me. She had made that decision, and now I had to make my own decision. Could I ever forgive her, or was this the end for us? I ran my hand through my hair, my mind racing. I wanted to believe that we could move past this, that we could rebuild our relationship. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't be that simple. Trust wasn't something you could just fix with an apology. It was something that took time, something that had been shattered beyond repair. "I need time," I said quietly, turning away from her. "I can't make any decisions right now. I need to think." She nodded, still crying, but she didn't say anything more. I knew she was waiting for me to tell her what was next, to tell her that we could move forward together. But I couldn't make that promise. Not yet. I walked out of the apartment, leaving Sarah behind. The air felt heavy, and my heart weighed 1,000 pounds. I didn't know what I was going to do, or if I could ever find a way to forgive her. But one thing was certain, I needed to figure this out on my own. I spent the next few days in a fog. My mind was racing constantly, replaying the scene over and over again. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Sarah with him. The thought was unbearable. I had trusted her with everything, and she had betrayed that trust in the most painful way possible. I didn't know how to move forward from this. I tried to throw myself into work, but even that couldn't take my mind off the mess I was in. I couldn't stop thinking about her, about the lies, the betrayal, and the things she had said. She had apologized. She had begged for my forgiveness. But could I really forgive her? Could I ever see her the same way again? A part of me still wanted to believe in the love we once shared. I had been with her for over 2 years, and during that time, I had thought we were building something real. But now, all of it felt like a lie. How could I trust her again after everything that had happened? I reached out to Rachel, hoping that talking to someone who wasn't involved would help clear my head. She picked up right away. "Hey, Ryan, how are you doing?" she asked, her voice warm and understanding. "I don't know," I admitted, feeling the weight of everything in my chest. "I've been thinking about everything that's happened with Sarah. I don't know if I can forgive her. I don't know if I can ever trust her again." Rachel was silent for a moment, then spoke gently. "Ryan, I can't tell you what to do, but I think you need to ask yourself what you really want. Do you want to try to rebuild what you had with Sarah, or do you think it's too broken to fix?" I didn't have an answer. I wanted to believe we could fix it, that we could find a way back to each other. But the doubt, the hurt, it was overwhelming. How could I ever forget what she had done? How could I trust her again? "I don't know, Rachel," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "I love her, but I can't just ignore what she did. It feels like I'll never be able to get past this." "That's okay," she said softly. "It's okay to need time. You don't have to make any decisions right now. Just take it one step at a time, okay?" I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Thanks, Rachel. I don't know what I would do without you." "Anytime," she replied. "Just remember, you have to do what's best for you, not anyone else." After the call, I sat in silence, trying to make sense of my emotions. Could I ever move past this? Could I truly forgive Sarah, or was I just holding on to something that had already crumbled? Every decision seemed impossible. Later that evening, I decided to go for a walk. The weather was cool, and the city felt quiet, almost peaceful. As I walked, I tried to clear my head, but all I could think about was Sarah. She had called me earlier, asking if I wanted to talk. I hadn't answered. I wasn't ready. I didn't know if I would ever be ready. I stopped in front of a cafe we had gone to together once. The memories of sitting there with her, talking about everything and nothing, flooded my mind. I remembered how happy we had been, how easy it had felt. But now it all felt like a distant dream, one that was slowly slipping away. I checked my phone and saw another message from Sarah. I know I messed up. Please, let's talk. I'm so sorry for everything. It was hard to ignore the desperation in her message. But was I willing to put myself through the pain of trying to rebuild what we had? I wasn't sure. I stood there for a long time, my heart torn in two. I wanted to forgive her. I wanted to believe that we could fix things. But deep down, I knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. And I wasn't sure if I was ready to walk down it with her. After spending hours walking around the city, trying to make sense of everything, I finally decided it was time to face Sarah. I couldn't keep running from this situation. The longer I let it sit unresolved, the harder it became to think clearly. The decision had to be made, whether I was ready or not. I needed to know if I could ever forgive her, or if it was time to cut ties for good. I walked back to the apartment, my heart pounding with each step. I had never felt so conflicted in my life. Every instinct in me screamed to walk away, to cut her out of my life for good, but the part of me that still loved her, that still remembered what we had, made me hesitate. I stepped inside the apartment and found Sarah sitting on the couch, nervously glancing at her phone, as if waiting for me to come through the door. When she saw me, her face lit up with a mix of hope and fear. "Ryan," she said, her voice shaky. "You came." "I came," I replied quietly, my eyes meeting hers. I didn't know how to start this conversation. There were so many things I wanted to say, so many emotions that I was still trying to sort through. She stood up, walking toward me slowly. "I'm so sorry, Ryan. I never meant to hurt you. I know I've made mistakes, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it right if you give me the chance." I shook my head, feeling the weight of her words, but still uncertain. "Sarah, you don't understand. It's not just about saying sorry. You've broken something that can't be fixed so easily. Trust isn't something you can just apologize for and expect to rebuild overnight." She bit her lip, her eyes welling up with tears. "I know. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I just want you to know that I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I love you, Ryan, and I don't want to lose you." Her words were sincere, and I could see the pain in her eyes. But I wasn't sure if I was ready to let go of the hurt. "You've already lost me, Sarah," I said, the words coming out more bitter than I intended. "You made a choice to cheat on me. You chose him over me. And now, you want me to forget that? To just pretend like it didn't happen?" "I didn't choose him over you," she whispered. "I made a huge mistake, and I didn't know how to fix it. I wasn't thinking clearly, and I regret it every day. Please, Ryan, give me a chance to prove that I can be the person you deserve." Her words tugged at something deep inside me, but it wasn't enough. "I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again, Sarah. What you did, it broke me." She took a step closer, reaching for my hand, but I pulled away, the distance between us growing even more palpable. "I want to believe you," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "I want to believe that we can fix this, but I don't know if I'm strong enough to go through this again." "I'll make it right," she insisted, her voice desperate. "I swear I'll make it right. I just need you to give me the chance. Please." I stood there, torn between the love I still felt for her and the betrayal that was eating away at me. Could I ever forgive her? Could I look past what she had done and trust her again? I didn't have the answers. I didn't know what was right. "I need more time," I said finally, my voice barely above a whisper. "I need to figure this out for myself. I can't make any decisions right now." She nodded, her face falling in resignation. "I understand. I'll wait for you, Ryan. I'll wait as long as it takes." I turned away, leaving her standing there, and walked out of the apartment. My heart felt heavy, the weight of the decision pressing down on me. I wasn't sure where this journey would take me, or if I could ever heal from the pain she had caused me. But for the first time in weeks, I felt like I had some control over my own future. The decision was mine to make, and no one else could make it for me. The following days were the hardest I had ever faced. Every time I tried to focus on something else, my mind drifted back to Sarah and the mess she had created. It wasn't just about the affair, it was about everything that came with it, the lies, the broken promises, the trust that had been shattered. I didn't know how to move forward, how to even begin the process of healing. I knew I needed answers, but I wasn't sure I was ready to face them. I tried to spend time with friends, distract myself from the pain, but every conversation, every laugh, felt empty. I couldn't ignore the gnawing feeling in my chest. I had once believed in Sarah with all my heart, and now that belief seemed like a distant memory. Then, one evening, Sarah texted me again. "I've been thinking a lot. I miss you. I'm ready to do whatever it takes to make things right. I can't keep living in this uncertainty. Can we talk?" It was clear she wasn't giving up. She had been patient, giving me the space I needed, but I knew that wouldn't last forever. I could sense the urgency in her words, the desperation to fix what had been broken. I stared at the text for what felt like hours, my mind racing. I wasn't sure if I was ready to talk to her yet, but I couldn't keep avoiding it forever. If I was going to move forward, I had to confront the reality of the situation. I had to make a decision, one way or the other. After a long pause, I typed back, "Let's talk." We agreed to meet at a cafe, a neutral place where we could have an honest conversation without the weight of our shared apartment hanging over us. When I walked in, I saw Sarah sitting at a table by the window, her face a mix of hope and anxiety. She looked different than the woman I had once known. Her eyes were tired, her posture slumped, and the smile she gave me seemed forced. I could see the guilt in her face, the sorrow she had carried since the moment everything fell apart. She stood up as I approached, and we exchanged a brief hug. I could feel her tremble as we embraced, but I didn't know what to say. The words felt too heavy, too charged with everything we had gone through. "Ryan," she began, her voice soft. "I don't know where to even begin. I've spent so much time trying to figure out how to fix this, but all I can say is that I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. I've hurt you in ways I can't even begin to explain. I was selfish, and I betrayed you in the worst way possible." I sat down across from her, taking a deep breath. "You didn't just hurt me, Sarah. You destroyed everything we built, everything I believed in. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." She nodded, tears filling her eyes. "I understand. I'm not asking for your forgiveness right now. I know I don't deserve it, but I need you to know that I've changed. I've realized what I've lost, and I will do whatever it takes to make it right. Please, give me the chance to prove that I can be better, that I can be the person you need me to be." I felt my heart tighten. I still loved her. But did I love the person she had become, or was I just holding on to the past? Could I really forgive her for what she had done, or was this a mistake that would haunt me forever? "I don't know if I can do that," I said quietly, my voice breaking. "I don't know if I can go back to what we had. You shattered my trust, and I don't know if I can ever rebuild it." Sarah reached across the table, her hand trembling as she took mine. "I know it's not going to be easy, and I know I've made a terrible mistake. But I love you, Ryan. I'm asking for a chance to prove that I'm not that person anymore." I looked down at her hand, my mind swirling with doubt. Part of me wanted to believe her, but another part of me knew that I couldn't make any promises yet. The decision wasn't clear, and I wasn't sure how much longer I could keep living in this state of uncertainty. "I can't promise anything, Sarah," I said, my voice filled with emotion. "But I'm willing to take some time to think, to figure out what I really want. I can't make any decisions yet. Not until I'm sure." She squeezed my hand, her eyes filled with gratitude. "I'll wait, Ryan. I'll wait as long as it takes. I just need you to know that I'll do everything I can to make it right." I didn't know if I was making the right choice, but for the first time in weeks, I felt like I had taken a step forward. It wasn't the end, but it wasn't the beginning either. It was the beginning of the rest of my life, a life that might or might not include Sarah. The next few days were filled with tension and confusion. After our conversation at the cafe, I couldn't stop thinking about Sarah, about the choices I now had to make. I still loved her, but I couldn't ignore the anger and hurt that simmered just beneath the surface. She had betrayed me in the worst way, and now, she was asking me to forgive her, to start over. But was I even capable of that? I spent most of my time trying to clear my head. I went on long walks, spent time with friends, and even took a weekend trip to get away from everything. But no matter how much I tried to distract myself, the question remained: could I move forward with Sarah, or was it time to let go? The constant back and forth between love and betrayal made it impossible to think clearly. Every time I thought I might be ready to forgive her, something inside me would pull back. The idea of trusting her again seemed impossible. But the idea of letting her go, of ending what we had built, hurt in a way I couldn't fully explain. When I returned from my trip, Sarah reached out to me again. She wanted to talk. She wanted to know where we stood, and I knew I couldn't keep avoiding it. I couldn't keep putting off the inevitable. I had to make a decision, and I had to do it soon. I agreed to meet her at a small park near our apartment, a place we used to go together when things were good. It felt like the right place to finally make the decision, to decide whether we had a future together or if it was time to move on. When I arrived, Sarah was already there, sitting on one of the benches. She looked up as I approached, her face full of emotion, a mix of hope and fear. She stood up as I sat down next to her, her eyes searching mine, waiting for me to say something. "Ryan, I've been waiting," she began, her voice soft. "I've been waiting for you to make your decision. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I love you, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right." I took a deep breath, my mind racing. "I've been thinking about everything, Sarah," I said slowly. "And the truth is, I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." Her face fell, the disappointment clear in her eyes. "I understand," she whispered. "I never expected it to be easy. But please, just give me a chance. Give me a chance to prove that I can be the person you deserve." I was silent for a long time, trying to gather my thoughts. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me still wanted to fight for us. But the other part of me, the part that had been hurt so deeply, wasn't sure if I could ever move past it. "Sarah, I don't know if I can do this," I said, my voice shaking slightly. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you. The trust we had is gone. It's been shattered, and I'm not sure if it can be fixed." She reached out for my hand, her fingers trembling as she held mine. "I understand, Ryan. I know it's not going to be easy. But I'm asking you for one more chance. One more chance to prove that I can be the woman you need." I looked at her, at the woman I had once trusted completely, and felt a pang of sadness in my chest. I still loved her, but love wasn't enough to rebuild what had been broken. Trust was everything, and I didn't know if I could ever trust her again. "I need more time," I said finally, my voice steady but filled with uncertainty. "I need more time to figure out what I really want. I can't make any promises right now." She nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. I'll wait for as long as it takes, Ryan. I won't give up on us." I stood up, giving her one last look before turning away. "I don't know what the future holds, Sarah," I said quietly. "But right now, I need to take things one day at a time. I can't promise anything, but I'll think about it." I walked away, the uncertainty still heavy on my shoulders. The decision wasn't clear, but I knew one thing for sure: I had to find a way to heal. And whether that meant finding a way back to Sarah or moving on for good, only time would tell. Days went by, and I found myself caught in an emotional whirlwind. The uncertainty of it all was eating at me. Sarah had been patient, giving me the space I needed, but I couldn't escape the questions that kept swirling around in my mind. Was I being fair to her? Could I really let go of the betrayal and rebuild our relationship? Or was I just prolonging the inevitable? Every time I saw Sarah's name pop up on my phone, a rush of emotions flooded over me: guilt, anger, longing, and doubt. I wanted to believe that things could go back to normal, that with enough time and effort, we could repair the damage done. But each time I thought about everything that had happened, the pain crept back in, and I was reminded that things could never be the same again. It wasn't just about the affair. It was about everything that had led up to it: the little lies, the defensiveness when I asked questions, the distance between us. It wasn't just one mistake, it was a series of choices that had built up over time. I spent the weekend alone, trying to clear my head. I avoided talking to Sarah, avoided seeing her. I needed time to think, time to really understand what I wanted moving forward. But the more I thought about it, the more confused I became. My friends had all been supportive, encouraging me to take my time and think things through. But I couldn't escape the nagging feeling that I was wasting time. Time that I could be spending with people who truly cared about me, people who wouldn't hurt me the way Sarah had. I knew I couldn't stay in this limbo forever. I needed closure, one way or the other. So, I reached out to her. The message was simple, but it felt like it carried the weight of 1,000 emotions. "Can we talk tonight? I need answers." It was a few hours before Sarah responded. She didn't ask for more time, she didn't try to convince me to give her another chance. She just said, "Of course. I'll be there at 7. The evening came quickly, and as the time approached, I felt the weight of the decision ahead. I wasn't sure what I expected from this conversation. Was I going to get the closure I needed? Or was this just another round of empty promises? I didn't know, but I knew I couldn't keep running from it. At 7 o'clock, Sarah showed up at my apartment, looking hesitant but hopeful. She wasn't smiling like she usually did, and there was a tension in her posture that mirrored my own. We both knew this conversation could change everything. "I'm glad you agreed to talk," she said quietly, standing in the doorway. "I know I've hurt you, and I've given you space because I know that's what you need. But I want you to know that I'll do anything to make this right." I nodded, taking a deep breath. I've been thinking about everything, I said, trying to steady my voice. I don't know if I can ever forgive you. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. The hurt runs too deep. Sarah looked down at the floor, her eyes filled with tears. I understand. I don't expect you to forgive me overnight. I just want you to know that I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry for everything I've done, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to prove that I can change, to prove that I can be the person you need. Her words were full of sincerity, but I couldn't ignore the doubt in my heart. Was she truly sorry, or was she just saying what she thought I wanted to hear? Could I really trust her again, knowing what had happened? I don't know what to do anymore, Sarah, I admitted. I still love you. But the thought of going back to the way things were, of trusting you again, it's terrifying, and I don't know if I'm strong enough to take that risk. She stepped closer to me, her voice trembling. I'll prove to you that I'm worthy of your trust, Ryan. I'll work every day to show you that I can be the person you need me to be. Please, just don't give up on us. I looked into her eyes, trying to find the words. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that we could overcome this. But I was afraid. Afraid of being hurt again. Afraid that no matter how hard we tried, we could never go back to what we once had. I need time, I said finally, my voice filled with uncertainty. I need more time to figure this out. I can't make any promises right now. She nodded, her face filled with a mix of relief and sadness. I'll give you all the time you need, Ryan. I'll wait as long as it takes. As I watched her leave, I couldn't help but wonder if I had made the right decision. Was I making a mistake by giving her more time? Or was I simply prolonging the inevitable? The following days dragged on like a slow, painful cycle. I kept my distance from Sarah, not because I hated her, but because I wasn't sure where to go next. I had promised her time, but the more time passed, the more conflicted I became. Every night, I'd lie awake in bed, replaying every word, every action, and every decision that had led me here. Could I really forgive her? Could I erase the betrayal, the lies, and the pain? Or was I just fooling myself by hoping things could go back to normal? I spent more time at work, focusing on distractions that kept me busy but never truly took away the heavy feeling that weighed on my chest. Friends tried to offer their advice, but no matter how many well-meaning words they spoke, they couldn't change the reality I had to face. This was my decision, and only I could decide what was best for me. The truth was, I was scared. Scared of making the wrong decision. Scared of opening myself up to the possibility of being hurt again. I couldn't shake the fear that if I gave Sarah another chance, I'd be setting myself up for more heartbreak. But at the same time, there was still a part of me that loved her. A part of me that didn't want to walk away from everything we had. One evening, I found myself sitting on the couch, staring at my phone. Sarah had sent me a message asking if we could meet. She hadn't pressured me, hadn't begged or pleaded. But I knew she was desperate for answers, just as I was. I stared at the message for a long time, wondering what would come of this meeting. Finally, I responded. Okay, let's meet. Tomorrow at 7. The next evening, I drove to the park where we had met before. It seemed like the right place to make this decision, to finally find some closure, one way or the other. As I arrived, I saw Sarah standing near the same bench we had sat on during our first conversation. She was looking down at the ground, her hands wringing together in nervousness. When she saw me, her face lit up with hope, but there was still that sadness behind her eyes. Ryan, she said, her voice soft. Thank you for agreeing to meet me. I nodded, taking a seat beside her. We were both silent for a long time, neither of us knowing where to begin. It felt like everything we had once shared, all of the comfort and ease between us, had been replaced by this tension, this uncertainty. I wanted to reach out to her, but every part of me was afraid. I've been thinking, I started, my voice trembling slightly, about what you said the other day. About how you want to make things right. I hear you. I really do. But I don't know if I can ever get past what happened. I don't know if I can forgive you. Sarah turned to me, her eyes filled with tears. I understand, Ryan, she whispered. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm asking you to believe me when I say I'm sorry. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to prove to you that I can be better. I love you, Ryan, and I'll never stop fighting for us. I closed my eyes, taking in her words. She sounded sincere, but how could I be sure? How could I trust her again after everything? The pain of betrayal still lingered, and no matter how much she apologized, it didn't change the fact that she had hurt me. I don't know, Sarah, I said softly, looking into her eyes. I don't know if I can ever see you the same way again. I don't know if I can move past the lies and the betrayal. She reached out for my hand, her fingers shaking. "I'll do anything, Ryan. Anything. Please, just don't give up on us." I pulled my hand back, the weight of the decision growing heavier. "I don't want to give up on us. But I need to know that I can trust you again. I need time to figure out if that's even possible." Sarah nodded, her face falling in sadness, but she didn't argue. "I'll wait," she said softly. "I'll wait as long as it takes. I won't rush you." I stood up, my heart torn in two. "I need to think, Sarah. I need to figure this out for myself. But right now, I can't promise you anything. Not yet." She nodded again, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and resignation. "I understand. Just know that I'm here when you're ready." I walked away, my heart heavy with uncertainty. The decision wasn't getting any easier, but I knew I couldn't keep avoiding it. I had to figure out what was best for me, and whether that meant trying to rebuild our relationship or walking away forever, I couldn't say yet. The following days felt like a blur. I kept going through the motions, working, eating, trying to keep my mind occupied, but all I could think about was Sarah and the decision I had to make. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, the regret, the desperation in her eyes. I still loved her, but the betrayal was too fresh. It gnawed at me, made every moment with her feel like a lie. Could I ever move past that? I spent the evenings alone, trying to gather the strength to make a decision. I knew that I couldn't keep living in this state of uncertainty forever. Something had to change, and I had to be the one to decide what that was. But the more I thought about it, the more conflicted I became. Part of me wanted to try, to forgive her and rebuild, but another part of me knew that trust, once broken, was hard to rebuild. I kept replaying our conversations, Sarah's tears, her promises to make things right. But no matter how sincere she seemed, the truth was, I didn't know if I could ever fully trust her again. The pain was too deep, the wound too fresh. Could I really risk it? Could I open myself up to being hurt again? Then, one evening, I received a message from Sarah. "Ryan, I know I've asked a lot of you, but I really need to talk to you. Can we meet again?" I stared at the screen for what felt like forever. Part of me wanted to say no, to avoid another conversation that would only leave me more confused. But another part of me knew that this was something I couldn't ignore. I had to face her. I had to make a choice, once and for all. I agreed to meet her at a small cafe. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew this conversation would be the one that determined our future. I showed up early, sitting at a table by the window, trying to calm the storm in my mind. As I waited, my thoughts raced. Was I about to let her back into my life, or was I finally going to close the door on our relationship? When she walked in, my heart skipped a beat. She looked the same, beautiful, vulnerable, and full of regret. She didn't say anything at first, she just sat down across from me, her eyes searching mine for any hint of what I was thinking. "Ryan," she said softly, breaking the silence. "I know I've hurt you, and I'm sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I need you to understand that I love you. I made the biggest mistake of my life, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it right if you give me a chance." I felt the weight of her words, but they didn't come as a surprise. She had said similar things before, and part of me wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that we could fix this, that the love we had was strong enough to overcome the pain. But the other part of me knew that this wasn't just about love. This was about trust, trust that had been broken, and trust that, no matter how much she wanted to make it right, couldn't be easily restored. "I don't know what to say," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again. I don't know if I can ever forgive you for what you did." Her face fell, and I could see the tears welling up in her eyes. "I understand," she said quietly. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I'm asking you to give me a chance. Please, Ryan, please don't give up on us." I could feel my heart breaking as I looked at her, torn between the love I still had for her and the pain of what she had done. I didn't know what the right choice was. I didn't know if I could ever let go of the hurt and rebuild the trust. "I need time," I said finally, my voice shaking with emotion. "I need more time to figure this out. I can't make any promises right now. I can't give you an answer." She nodded, her face filled with sorrow. "I'll wait," she said softly. "I'll wait for as long as it takes. I'll do anything to prove that I can be the person you need." I stood up, my heart heavy with uncertainty. "I'm not sure what the future holds, Sarah," I said quietly. "But right now, I need to figure out what I want. And that's something I can't do while I'm still so confused." She nodded, tears streaming down her face as I turned and walked away. The decision still felt impossible. Part of me wanted to move on, to leave her behind and never look back. But another part of me knew that I wasn't ready to give up just yet. The days that followed felt like a blur, a mix of restlessness and indecision. I couldn't escape the thoughts that circled in my mind, each one more confused than the last. Every time I tried to distract myself, it would return: Sarah, her apology, her eyes full of regret. I loved her, but could love really fix what she had broken? Could I look past the pain and the betrayal? The trust, once shattered, could it be rebuilt? I was torn. I couldn't deny the love I still felt for her, but I also couldn't deny the anger, the hurt. The idea of moving on, of leaving her behind, seemed impossible. But so did the idea of staying in this relationship, haunted by the past and the knowledge that things could never go back to the way they were. I had tried to focus on work, to take my mind off of everything, but every moment of quiet was filled with questions. Should I forgive her? Should I try to make this work, even though I wasn't sure if I could ever trust her again? And if I did forgive her, would it really change anything? Would we ever be the same? Late one night, after hours of tossing and turning in bed, I found myself reaching for my phone. I stared at it for a moment, then pulled up Sarah's contact information. I hadn't spoken to her in a few days. I hadn't given her an answer. And yet, she had respected my need for space. She had waited, and I knew I couldn't keep her waiting forever. The decision was mine to make, and I knew it was time to stop running from it. I texted her, "Can we meet? I need to talk." Within minutes, she replied, "Of course. Where and when?" I suggested a cafe near the park we used to visit together. It was a quiet spot, familiar but distant enough to offer some space for the conversation we needed to have. The next evening, I arrived early, walking around the block a few times to clear my head. I had no idea what I was going to say. What could I say? Everything felt so complicated, the emotions too tangled to sort out. But I had to face her. I had to make a choice. When Sarah arrived, she looked the same, worn out, tired, but still carrying that hopeful expression. The kind of expression that said she was willing to do anything to make things right. She came up to me, slowly, cautiously, as if afraid that any sudden movement would scare me away. Her eyes locked with mine, and for a moment, I saw the person I had loved. The person who had made mistakes, yes, but who had been genuine in the past. "Ryan," she said softly, taking a seat across from me, "thank you for meeting me. I know this has been hard for you. I just want you to know that I'm here, ready to listen, ready to do whatever it takes." I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at her, trying to process everything. "I've been thinking," I said finally. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened, and I can't keep pretending that I'm not hurting. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." Her face fell, and I could see the anguish in her eyes. "I understand," she whispered. "I've hurt you beyond measure. I can't take that back. But I'll do anything, to make it right. Please, Ryan, please give me the chance to prove that I can be better." I shook my head, feeling the weight of the decision bearing down on me. "I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'm strong enough to forgive you. The trust, Sarah, it's gone." Her voice cracked, but she didn't back down. I know, and I can't change the past. But I love you, and I'm asking for a chance to show you that I can be the person you deserve. I'm asking you not to give up on us." I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath. The truth was, I was scared. Scared of being hurt again. Scared of letting go of the past. But I also realized that holding on to the pain was only keeping me trapped in a cycle of hurt. "I don't know," I whispered. "I don't know what the future holds for us. But I need time, Sarah. I need more time to decide if this is something I can move past. And I can't make any promises." She nodded, her eyes filled with unshed tears. I'll wait for however long it takes." I stood up, walking away slowly, not looking back. I wasn't ready to make a decision yet, but for the first time, I felt like I was moving forward, towards something, even if it was still uncertain.